It's common knowledge that the Jaguar E-Type is my favorite car design of all time. I've been banned from mentioning it in this video simply because it's going to save us time. And I think that's a better use of our time, that I don't spend the next 5-10 minutes drooling about this car. So you won't hear from me any more about it from this moment on. The car comes across as being an absolute stunning example of what a four-door Jaguar kickoff for their future looks and their future strategy absolutely turned out to be.
We're going to do something from now on. Every time you say the word absolutely, I'm adding £1 onto my invoice.
How many times did I say it? A lot?
You said that 3 times in that sentence.
Absolutely. Welcome back. In every car brand's history, there's a model, a car that comes out at a certain time that is of such importance that it marks a high point, that it's a chapter marker in that car brand's history that defines everything that came before it and influences everything that came after it. And today, I want to speak about 3 cars that have done just that for Jaguar. Now, in my opinion, you can define each car brand's ethos, each car brand's identity with 3 main pillars. Number 1, agile and athletic. How does Jaguar do that? They have clean, powerful looking surfaces, uncluttered, very pure. Number 2, intimidating yet rarely aggressive, like a Jaguar, powerful in performance, graceful in design. Number 3, essentialism. You'll never see anything on a Jaguar that doesn't need to be there. Clean, uncluttered design. I'll expand more on these 3 points as I work through the list of my top 3 greatest Jaguars. Number 1 on my list is the 1954 DType Jaguar. Specifically for me, the long nose version. Now the DType was built to win Le Mans, which it did actually several times. And that goes to show you that aesthetics, the design of the vehicle, was probably not on their list of priorities. That makes it even more fascinating because its creator, Malcolm Sayers, was actually trying to achieve a car that was aerodynamically efficient and optimized for top speed. The design is a reflection of the success of that engineering and always tends to be on the gorgeous side, which is what I would describe the DType as. Absolutely stunning in design, gorgeous and scientifically designed. It unites the engineering with the aesthetics and you combine it and you have something that results in a beautiful shape. So this car was actually born in the wind tunnel. You can see it through all the pureness of the shapes and the surfaces and the volumes of the fuselage of the body as it swings past towards the rear. This is a race car. This is a car that's made with purpose in mind. And again, that proves that good design goes hand in hand with absolute incredible engineering. If there's one car in the Jaguar lineup or even in the world that can rival the beauty of the Jaguar E-Type, is the XK120 OTS. Now, truth be told, I think that the XK120 really only looks gorgeous in the OTS version, the open 2-seater version, because for me, with the roof in place, it does look a little bit awkward. But remove that roof, have it clean on the rear like it should be, and that open 2-seater of the XK120 looks absolutely stunning, especially the first versions when they came out with the covered rear wheel. Looks gorgeous. This was a starting point for the XK series. It was followed by the XK140 and again thereon by the XK150, each one introducing slight improvements. But that XK120, when you view it from the side view, that's where I think it nails the XK series, because this one has that nice flowing line up over the front wheel, sinking gracefully downwards and then kicking back up. That for me is the dynamic language of the 50s, and Jaguar managed to nail it and influence many cars thereafter. But for me, the language, the music, the symphonic curvature you almost get with that line flow on the side of the XK120 is what is most stunning. And covered rear wheels for me on a car like this absolutely make the difference on it. I love that. I love the simplicity of the side view. And as it rotates and comes to the back, as your view moves to the rear of this car, it doesn't get any better for a car of that era. There's a lot of almost Art Deco treatment back there, which makes it even more enticing, more interesting to look at, more to fall in love with. Another feature that I absolutely love on this car, which started later to change when they started to modernize glass production, is the two-piece windscreen in the front, which is divided in the middle. That gives it a feeling of the era, of the time when this car was actually produced. It's almost an artistic way to produce the windshield arrangement there. And I really love the treatment of the chrome around a lot of the pieces on the car that just seem to highlight them. And number 3 on my list is the Mark II Jaguar. This Mark II Jaguar is what I would call the quintessential 4-door Jaguar. At the time, it was their most successful model, and I think that proved that the design was absolutely nailed for this type of car. It was one of the most beautiful examples of any 4-door car on the market at that point in history. Now, looking at the car from the front again, a very typical Jaguar of that age because of the grille and obviously a few of the elements that define it to be a Jaguar. But for me, this was an extremely elegant sedan. I think the elegance of this car is down to the finesse of a lot of the elements on this, a lot of the blending of the curvatures that you would see on the front end of a sports car. There's a lot of Jaguar in that finessing of the way that the grille is coming out, almost like a snout on a Jaguar almost. You have that face there with the grille that's typically Jaguar. I think those twin headlights up there, additional fog lights, really give it a sporty character, maintaining obviously that it's a 4-seater saloon. So there's that elegance of that this car moves when it wants to get up and go. Then that side profile with that very typical, very recognizable Jaguar that just tapers down through the shoulder, down over the rear fenders, gliding down almost. That for me is a symbol of elegance. The doors, just nice and pure, clean design. Again, totally uncluttered. And then those Jaguars of those times always had a beautiful quarter light. That window just behind the rear window on the side, just a nice rolling radius. Almost looks like, to me, that it was designed using the Fibonacci spiral. It wouldn't surprise me. And then that rear glass, that nice curvature, that almost swelling of the rear glass from side to side, captures the essence of the Jaguar beautifully here. Then those fine touches of the chrome work that they're using in different places, especially on the taillights and on the rear bumper. You can see that they're almost designed with an Art Deco touch to them. And then a nice, clean, exquisite pipe design, subtle to a certain extent, just poking out from underneath, just showing hints of the power that this car had. Overall, again, another highly desirable Jaguar to have in your collection. This car marks for me a high point in Jaguar's design history. I think this car was really the building block of the new type of sports sedan coming from Jaguar, influencing many other cars around the world at that time. But it was that combination of elegance and sportiness done almost in, let's call it the bad boy manner, that gave it that appeal that I find so fascinating on the Mark II. And now for my honorable mentions from Jaguar, too many to list, but if I have to nail it down to just 3, I'm going to go with one that is fairly way back. That is the XJ13. That car was one of the most gorgeous cars ever designed, developed, whatever you want to call it. It wasn't designed to be beautiful. It just happened to look absolutely stunning. The second one on my list is the XK150. I've always debated between the XK120 and the XK150, which is more beautiful. It's a hard call. I think the 150 is a nice runner-up in terms of design to the XK120. And again, XK150 OTS. The third car on my list here, this car, again, it doesn't exist. Hand on my heart, I wish it was out there, because this would have been the addition, the perfect addition to the holy trinity of cars called the hypercar era in the early 2010s, when we saw the P1, we saw the Porsche 918, and we saw the Ferrari LaFerrari. The perfect addition to that would have been the Jaguar C-X75. And for me, that stunning look, that stunning proportion, that beautiful sculpture, those curves on that car, united with the modern technology that it was going to introduce, make it for me the number one on my list of honorable mentions of Jaguar designs. Now, in terms of the current state of Jaguar design affairs, where they're at, I feel that there's a moment right now of wishy-washiness. And what really truly does concern me a little bit is the fact that I think that they want to go way up in the actual what the vehicle costs kind of sense. And that for me is a little bit worrying, because going down is easy, going up, you're going to meet a whole list of different types of competitors in that segment who've been there for a long time. But if anybody can do it, Jaguar can. Why not? Go for it, Jaguar. And there you have it, my list of the top 3 greatest designed Jaguars. Let me know if you're in agreement with me. Let me know if you're not in agreement with me. I'll look forward to reading your comments below, and I'll see you in the next episode.